It's 12:30. I'm going to get started right now. I'm Mike Blum. I'm here with the Studio for Teaching and Learning Innovation, and today we're going to do a quick bite on Microsoft Bookings. Microsoft Bookings, we're going to talk, this is what today's workshop is going to contain. First, we're going to look at Bookings and what it's good for. I'm going to show you an example of some Bookings pages that I've created and see how you can book meetings, conversations, any sort of kind of appointment with people either at William & Mary or outside of William & Mary if you'd like to do that. Then I'm going to show you how you get to your bookings page. And we're going to talk about customizing your own bookings page. And there are a few things that you're going to want to do if you choose to use bookings. You're going to want to be able to set your hours of availability. You're going to want to be able to set a place for your meetings, whether it's on Zoom or if it's going to be in person. If you want to add questions, because every booking schedule comes with questions that people can actually answer, and you can either make those questions optional or mandatory. And I'll show you how to remove questions and add questions. I'm going to show you how to share your bookings page with other people. You can do it in a number of ways. You can add your email, add the bookings page link to your email signature, which that's one thing that I do, which I really like. I'm going to show you how to copy and paste it into the body of an email so that you can send a different bookings page, a specific bookings page that you've created, right into your email. And then how you might embed it in a web page for people who are interested in doing that. And finally, I'm going to show you how I created a shared bookings page so that if you have a team of people, in my case, I've got a couple of different teams. I've got a team of consultants that work with STLI, and we have a consultants booking page where you can make a booking with either a specific consultant or the first available consultant. And then I have a bookings page for our student consultants so that somebody can actually book time to meet with one of our student partners. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to kind of just jump right into it. If people have questions, you can just unmute yourself and ask a question if you have any trouble figuring things out. So first thing that I want to talk about is how you get to your bookings page. I like to get there through webmail. And if you log into your webmail, you'll notice that on the side here, on the left-hand side, you've got a whole bunch of options. And one of your options is actually going, well, I'm going to expand this a little bit to expand all my options here. And you'll notice if you expand your menu here on the left-hand side, you got this funky little bookings link. And if you click on that, it takes you to your bookings page. Right now, if you want to get to your bookings homepage, as long as you're logged in at William & Mary, you'll notice that this address, outlook.office.com/bookings/homepage, can take you right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in chat in case anybody wants to see that right now. I'll pop that in the chat. And that's how you get to your own individual bookings page. All right. So let me go back. And so here's my personal bookings page. You'll notice, let me move my image over here so I can see everything. So you'll notice I have two things here. I've got my personal bookings page, and that's something that is personal to you. And you've also got any shared bookings pages that people might have created or you might have created to add you to a bookings page. So let's go and look at what that looks like to somebody who is accessing your bookings, you know, so that they can schedule something with you. So I'm going to go to my bookings page right here. And now what I've done is I've actually created a couple of different options for people to book with me. I've created an in-person 30-minute consultation, and I give them information on my room location, other things like that. And then I've got a Zoom 30-minute consultation so that if somebody wants to book with me over Zoom, they know what they're getting. We don't have to figure out where they are, where we're going to meet. And if I want somebody to go ahead and book with me, I send them this link and they say, oh, I would like to have a 30-minute consultation. So they'll be able to click on that. I'm just going to go ahead and copy that link. And I'm going to go ahead and go right to it here. I'm going to paste it in here. And so now here's what the user will see, the person who's booking with you, what they'll see. They'll see your name, your booking page, that particular meeting type. So they know that they're in for a 30-minute Zoom consultation, and they'll see all of the available times that you've got. All right. And if you notice, so I've got time today from 2:30 to 4:30. I've got time on Wednesday, whatever that is, and they can choose that. So if they want to book with me, they can choose a time. And if I click that, it'll say next. And now they can go ahead and fill out the information, who they are, what their email address is, and any notes. So anything that they'd like to share with me. I'd like to talk about, group work, or I'd like to talk about how to best grade things in Blackboard. And then they'll click book. And once they've booked with me, it will send them an email and it will send me an email. And the great thing about the email that it sends to me is it will automatically put it in my Outlook calendar, right? So let me go ahead and start on how I customize those bookings pages, because you'll notice I have my 30-minute consultation, but I've also got my 30-minute Zoom consultation. If you notice, I've got something private here as well. It's a 60-minute conversation. I don't necessarily want to give people the option to do a 60-minute consultation with me right from my bookings page. So I've created that privately. So if somebody contacts me and says, Mike, I'd like to have coffee and I'd like to talk for 60 minutes, all I need to do is come over to these three dots here, and I'll copy that link, and I can send that to them in an email. So let's say I wanted to send that to them in an email. So I'll just go ahead and create a new mail, and I can go ahead and paste that right in there. And it tells them exactly what it is. Book time with Michael Blum, 60-minute conversation. And the link will expire on May 10th, 2023. And I can just send that to the person. They can click on it and they can book a 60-minute consultation with me, but it won't appear in my public bookings page. So how do I create these? Let's go through that. So here I am in my bookings page, and I'll go ahead and you'll notice I can hit the plus under public. So I can start creating a whole new bookings page, a service. And I'll click on the plus, and now it'll take me to add a title. So let's say for me, I want faculty members to be able to book me for an hour and 20-minute classroom visit. So I'm going to say 90-minute. Well, I'll just say 90-minute. 90-minute classroom visit. And I can add a description if I like. It automatically defaults to a Teams meeting. So you have to be careful when you're using bookings to unselect Teams meeting, unless you would like a Teams meeting. And then I can choose the location, and I'll say TBA, because I don't know where the classroom is. And now you have to click on use this location. Otherwise, that field will not get populated. And you'll notice that there's that TBA. And I can choose a time, and I'll choose custom time here because I want it to be 90 minutes. And I can use my regular meeting hours, or I can choose some advanced options. That's if I want, for example, I only want to schedule, let's say I'm doing student advising, and I only wanted it for a certain length of time. I only wanted it for the week of March 10th through March 15th. I can select all that in the advanced options, where I'll say, okay, I can also do other cool things in the advanced options. I like to have a 15-minute buffer time before and after a meeting so that I don't get stuck having meetings back to back where I might have to walk somewhere or somebody might want to spend a little extra time with me. So I make sure I have 15-minute buffer time on the front end and the back end of that. So I'm going to go ahead and add that 15-minute buffer time. And now limit start time to 30-minute intervals. I don't care when the start time is. I would choose 5-minute intervals, especially since I have that buffer time already. Now, this is a great thing. Minimum lead time. I don't really want to find out today that somebody wants to book me for a classroom visit tomorrow. So instead of 1 hour, I'm going to say I want a 2-day lead time for that. And then I choose maximum lead time, 90 days. That's fine. And then I'll go ahead and hit save. So now I've booked that 90-minute classroom visit, but I don't want that to appear in my public meetings. I don't want people to just go and say, oh, I want a classroom visit. So what I'll do is I will move that to my private meetings. How do I move that to my private meetings? I'll choose the three dots here, and I will say make private. And now it ends up in my private area, and I can go ahead and share that by clicking on that and say, either copy a single use link so they can't reshare it with somebody else, or I can copy that link. Or I can also make it public. Let's say I wanted to move it back to my public area. I can click make public, and then it makes that link public. So that's one way that you can create a meeting and really set it to your own parameters. If you had a meeting that, for example, was you only wanted this meeting type to happen between this date and that date, there's another way to do that too. So I'm going to click on the plus here, and I'll create a new meeting, and I'll say student advising. And I want that to only be in my office. So I'm going to choose Boswell 116. And now I'll say use this location. And then you'll notice that it chooses Boswell 116. I will make it not a Teams meeting again. That's going to be a tricky one. And let's say I only want those meetings to be 15 minutes. And I want it to be public, and I don't want to use my regular meeting hours. I want to go ahead and use custom availability hours for this one. And now I only want it during the following date range. So now I'm going to choose my date range. So I'll say I wanted a starting date of, let's say I want to start my meetings February 27th, and I want to end my meetings on March 3rd. So I choose those. And now I get to choose how I want these to look. So let's say I only wanted students to be able to book with me from 9:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. So I'll book that, and I could do the same thing. Let's say Tuesday I'm out, so I'm going to say no Tuesday meetings. And let's say Wednesday I want the same thing, 9:30 to 3:30. And let's say I'm out Tuesday, Thursday. I only have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, so I'll close that. And now let's say Friday, I want also those dates, right? And now I've got that set, and I can also click on advanced options if I want. It'll open the advanced options. And let's say this one, I don't need a buffer time because we're meeting in person. I want my students to come one right after the other because I have a lot of students. So I'm not going to have a buffer time for this specific thing. And I want to limit my start time to 15-minute intervals instead. And let's say that I want a minimum lead time of 1 day or maybe 8 hours because I know how students are. They might not be up to booking with me. They might forget. And now I've got that student advising meeting time, and I'll hit save. And let's say I don't want that to appear as a public meeting. Let's say the smart thing to do for me for that would be to make that a private meeting, and then to share that link on my Blackboard site with my students. So they know that they go to the Blackboard site, and then they can make a meeting with me at that time. So that is how you go about creating those meetings and how you make it private or not private. So let me go back and click on that in-person 30-minute consultation and take a look at what that looks like, because I want to edit that. So let me see. Oh, that looks correct. That looks correct. I'm going to go to advanced options. Oh, it doesn't give me. Oh, you don't get to choose the questions in your basic meetings that you do in the group meetings. Let me show you what the group meetings look like. First, I'm going to ask if anyone has any questions about your personal booking page, how to access it, and how to actually create a meeting type and make it either public or private, add a buffer, add how long the meeting should last, and how you actually create that, send that link to people. And if you have a question, just go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask a question. Otherwise, I'll continue. Okay, terrific. So let's talk about shared booking pages now. So what do we want to do with a share? Oh, before I talk about shared booking pages, let me go to my booking page and show you how to add the link to your email address. Because if you'll notice in my email address, when I send a message to somebody, I have this nice line at the bottom of my signature, book time to meet with me. So I don't ever have to put that link over here if I don't want to. If it's just a regular booking, then I can just say, use the link at the bottom of my signature to book some time with me. And then and it's been pretty successful. Everyone has been able to do that. So how do I get that link in my email signature? So if you notice, I'm in my bookings page here. And so I'll go back to it so you can see it. So I'm in the regular bookings page. My personal bookings page shows. This is what you see, by the way, when you get there directly from your webmail. You'll see your personal bookings page and you'll see that shared bookings page. So if I'm going to go to my bookings page directly, now it's going to give me my options where I can share it. And I can either copy the link, I can share it via email, and then it'll paste that link in my email, whichever email I choose as my default email application, or add to email signature. And if I click add to email signature, now it's going to go ahead and offer to add that link directly to my email signature, and it'll put it right there for you. You don't have to worry about it. So let me go ahead and, here's how you edit your banner image if you'd like. And you can also turn off your bookings page. If you don't want your bookings page to be available, you can turn it off, like maybe when you're out of the office or whatever.
Mike,
yeah, go ahead, Hermine.
I have a question.
Great.
So when you put this on your, when you put this up in public, when do you get, does it go on your schedule?
Yeah, so it'll go to your Outlook calendars. So the one thing that you want to do is make sure that your Outlook calendar is up to date when you do this, because it's looking at your Outlook calendar. And I'm sorry if I didn't mention that before. So I make sure that my Outlook calendar is always up to date. Or, Hermine, you could just put your office hours in there the way that I did when you say, okay, I want it only available during these hours. And then you can control what hours the students actually can book. And then you don't even have to necessarily pay attention to your Outlook calendar if you do that, because then as a student books or as somebody else books, the time that they booked for is now no longer available to whoever else looks at that page. Okay. So that time is now taken by whoever has booked it.
Okay.
You'll get an email saying that somebody has booked a time with you, and it'll also go directly in your Outlook calendar.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's go back to our the entire, and you can edit your banner image. I'll click on edit the banner image. You click on edit banner image. Unfortunately, it only gives you these Microsoft options. So if I like some mountains, I can choose that. Eventually, you'll be able to edit your banner image and it'll be something that you actually choose. But right now, you have to kind of take what they give you. And then your own image comes from your Microsoft Outlook, your webmail profile, and you can change that in webmail. But let me go back to my bookings page. And now here's where I have all my shared bookings pages. So for example, our team, our STLI consultants have our own bookings page. So if I wanted to share that page with people, I could go ahead and click this button. And you notice it's available to anyone. You have the option to make it available to anyone, make it available only to people in your organization, or make it no self-service, in which case you do all the bookings through this. I don't know why you would do that. You wouldn't even use bookings. But I don't care. I want anyone to be able to book, and I can decide whether I want to speak to somebody who I don't recognize. So that's one thing that I want you to be aware of. And now you can also, once you click on that share, it gives you your booking page, and you can click on that, or you can copy that booking page, or you can send an email, or you can embed it directly in a website. And we've done that with the Studio for Teaching and Learning Innovation pages, and I'll show you that in a moment. But let me show you what that looks like when you actually go to the page. So I'm going to go to that page. And now this is my editing page, and it's a little overwhelming, so don't get too scared. You don't need to be able to do all this. It's only if you are, scheduling for a bunch of people. So we can do things like choose different services. So we've got a 30-minute general consultation for all of our staff. And we can go ahead and edit that service over here. And here we are going to have kind of the same exact options that we had before, where you can schedule the location, you can decide how long it is, you can create a buffer time. That should look pretty familiar to you from what we looked at before. If you wanted to set a price, you could set a price. Obviously, the Studio for Teaching and Learning Innovation does not charge for a consultation. And now you can also let customers manage their appointments when it was booked by you or your staff on their behalf. So they can go in and they can delete an appointment if they can't make it, or they can change the venue, whatever they want to do. But you'll notice there are all of these options on the left-hand side here besides the basic details. You can change the availability options. That was similar to changing the availability in your personal bookings page. You can choose custom hours. You can choose only when you're available in your Outlook calendar. You can also assign staff. So we have each of our staff members as a consultant here. So if you wanted to book with any one of our staff members, you can add them here. And you can go ahead and search for anyone actually at William & Mary and add them as a staff member. They might not be happy if you didn't tell them about that. Now you can do custom fields. And this is where you do the custom fields that I was talking about before. So if I needed to know a customer's email and phone number and customer address and customer notes, these are all default information types. And I've chosen not to choose phone number, address, or customer notes because we don't really care about that. But I do care about their email, and I've selected that it is required. I can also choose custom fields, and I've created my own custom field here, and you can hit add a custom field, and it will take you, and you can add a question right here. How can we help? A few basic details will help us prepare for the meeting. And then I also created one that says, where is your classroom? But I did not select that, so it's not going to appear in our services page. So that is kind of a really quick and dirty way that you can go ahead and create a service and include lots of different people in it. And let me show you what that looks like, actually. So I'm going to go to that 30-minute general consultation page, and I'll click on it. And you'll notice here is what the page looks like for STLI consultations. We're able to choose our own logo, and that's in those in that dashboard. Now we can say, okay, this is a 30-minute general consultation. And we can either just choose the first available staff member, or we can pull down, and any of those staff members that we put in here would be available to be booked. You see, I'm not available right now because I'm teaching this class. But now you'll notice if I choose the 16th, and I go to, I'm not available because I'm at a conference that day, but Briar Anderson is available. So if I choose her, I can see all of the different times that she's available. And Briar, I'm just going to choose you, and I'm going to book something with you for the 16th. And it tells you the date, and I can add my details. So here's Mike, and here's my email address, and I'm going to say test meeting. So this is what the person booking with you is going to see. And I'll click book. And I will get an email, and she will get an email, but it will go directly into her Outlook calendar. And now I, as the booker, can reschedule, I can cancel the booking, or I can go ahead and create a new booking for that. So that's how that works. Let's see if I have covered everything. I think I've covered everything that I want to do, and that was very quick. Let me show you one thing that you can do now. I'm going to go to our STLI webpage and show you what we've done to embed it actually into a web page. So if you go to our STLI webpage and you need help and you don't know how to get help, that's something that we have just added. If you go to our menu here on the side and open that up, you can click request a consultation. And what we've done is we've used that embed tag, and we've just put that right into our page. So you can book directly in our web page right there. So that should look pretty familiar to you. And then here's my information if you need to get in touch with me. So I'm going to go ahead and return to the slideshow. And here's my last slide. If you want to book something with us, what I've done is I've created a tiny URL using William & Mary's short URL maker. And I'll go ahead and paste that in to let's go ahead and copy that link address. I'm going to paste that into chat right now so that if you want to take a look and see how it works, you can do that and you can look at what ours is. And if you wanted to book something with us because you didn't understand or you need more help with this or anything else, you can go ahead and book with us right now. So, or you can use the QR code and you can just point your camera at that QR code and it'll take you right to the bookings page online.